Have you ever felt like your true family might not share your last name? Have you noticed that, over time, it's friends not relatives who hold your hand in tough moments? If this thought has ever crossed your mind, if you've carried the weight of loneliness, even surrounded by people, this video is for you. Today, I want to show you something powerful. You can build a family even without blood ties, a family made of chosen affection, mutual care, and sincere presence. Yes, it's possible, and many, after 60, discover this truth and find peace, belonging, and love like never before. Here at Elderly Wisdom, we believe it's never too late to create deep and genuine bonds. So, stay with me until the end, because this video might change how you see the people around you, especially those who truly deserve to be by your side. And if you value conversations like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Here, the wisdom that comes with time finds a voice, a space, and a heart. Bonds that blood can't explain. Not everyone who shares our blood truly knows our soul. There are moments in life when we realize this with almost painful clarity, when loneliness hits and the ones we expected most don't show up. But then, unexpectedly, someone else appears. Someone who didn't share our cradle, who didn't sit at the same Christmas table growing up, yet stands by us as if they've lived every chapter of our story. These are the bonds that blood can't explain. They're the quiet encounters that become shelter. The person who arrives without fanfare but stays when the world falls apart. Who hears your silence. Who recognizes your pain without you needing to put it into words. You know, that friend who calls on the day you need it most, even without knowing why. Or that neighbor who knocks on your door just to check on you for no apparent reason. These people aren't coincidences. They're gifts life sends when your heart is ready to receive them. Along the way, we learn that family isn't defined just by a family tree, but by the depth of the bonds built over time. Real family is the one who listens without judgment, who stays when everyone else leaves, who celebrates your victories as if they were their own, and in your failures, extends a hand instead of pointing a finger. These bonds don't come from social conventions or obligatory ties. They bloom from empathy, mutual respect, and the conscious choice to be present. A friendship that spans decades and becomes a brotherhood of life. A coworker who, after sharing so many confidences, becomes closer than a distant cousin. Or even a grandchild adopted by the heart, who didn't come by blood, but arrived through love. This family, woven into the margins of life, holds profound value because it's built with intention. And every relationship built with intention carries more strength than those imposed by tradition. Now, this doesn't mean devaluing biological ties. It's about recognizing that not all of them fulfill the role of nurturing. Sadly, many of us have experienced homes where affection was missing, where physical presence didn't translate to emotional presence. And in those empty spaces, other people appear, who fill them, who bring warmth, who become our foundation. These people help us redefine the concept of family. They show us that we can find siblings outside the cradle, parents beyond blood, children outside biology. Because what truly matters isn't where you come from, but who walks beside you today, who offers companionship on cloudy days, who calls your name with affection and truth, who respects your story, your limits, your pain, and still chooses to stay. And the most beautiful part? These bonds can form at any stage of life. Even after 60, after 70. It's never too late to find someone who looks at you with tenderness and says, through their actions, you're not alone. Sometimes it all starts with a conversation on a park bench, a shared cup of coffee in the late afternoon, or an exchange of confidences between laughter and memories. And before you know it, what was a casual encounter becomes a lifelong connection. So never underestimate the value of a sincere connection. It can blossom in the unlikeliest place and become the most precious bond of your existence. Bonds that blood can't explain, but the heart understands deeply. And if today you have someone like this in your life, cherish them. Because few things are as sacred as being family to someone. By choice, not by obligation. When friendship becomes a safe harbor, some friendships begin with a simple gesture, an unassuming conversation, unexpected help, a casual, "You can count on me," said almost without thought. But time passes, and that person who appeared by chance becomes a constant, a steady presence, a kind of home away from home. And it's at this point that friendship stops being just companionship and becomes a safe harbor. A safe harbor is more than an ordinary friendship. It's the person you call when your world crumbles, when bad news arrives, when the pain overflows. Someone who doesn't panic at your sadness, who doesn't try to fix your life, but who stands firm, listening, comforting, breathing with you. And this, after a certain age, becomes immeasurably valuable. Because with time, we learn that what matters most isn't the number of people around us, but the quality of their presence. How many times have you realized that an old friend, someone you don't even talk to every day, knows you better than your own siblings? That childhood friend, even if they live far away, can sense when something's wrong. That's no coincidence. It's real connection. Affection nurtured over years with care, listening, and trust. It's knowing that, no matter how life twists and turns, someone remains. Someone who sees you with understanding, not expectation. This becomes even more meaningful as we face the challenges of maturity. When children leave home, parents are gone, or siblings follow their own paths, it's common to feel a certain emptiness. And that's when true friendships shine brightest. They become lighthouses in the darkest night. They illuminate without intruding. They comfort without confining. They're there without grand promises, but with real presence. And often, these friendships are what hold our emotional well-being. Together. Studies confirm what the heart has always known. Those who cultivate good friendships live longer and better. They sleep more peacefully, laugh more often, face illness with greater courage, because they know they're not alone. And that knowing, that quiet certainty that someone cares, is transformative, healing. It's the difference between the anguish of loneliness and the peace of being remembered. We're not talking about party friends, social media connections, or superficial chats. We're talking about the person who understands your silences, who remembers the anniversary of your father's passing, who texts just to ask if you've eaten, who doesn't disappear when sadness arrives. Instead, they draw closer. Sometimes they don't even say much, they just listen. Just stay. Just offer a shoulder, a cup of tea, a sincere hug. This kind of friendship, when nurtured with honesty, outlasts time. It weathers life's changes with maturity. It adapts but never fades. And the most beautiful part? It doesn't demand perfection. You can be vulnerable, tired, tearful, and still, you'll be loved. Because a safe harbor doesn't expect you to be okay all the time. It just wants you to feel safe enough to be who you are. Maybe you're hearing this now and thinking, but I don't have someone like that. And that's okay. Life can still surprise you. There's still time. There's always time to build bonds like these. But for that, you must be willing to open up, to offer your shoulder too. Because true friendships don't appear out of nowhere. They flourish where there's space, warmth, and reciprocity. And often, they start with a small gesture, a listening ear, an honest presence, a simple, "I'm here." If you already have someone like this, someone who became your harbor when everything felt like a storm, be grateful. Cherish them. Tell them. Don't wait for time to pass before acknowledging their importance. And if you're still searching, know this: life is generous. It always places in our path what we're ready to receive. So prepare your heart. Nurture your connections. Be someone else's harbor too. Because in the end, it's these bonds chosen, built, cherished, that make life's journey lighter, safer, and far more beautiful. The value of being chosen. There's something profoundly special about being chosen. Unlike blood family, which is given to us without choice, a heart family is born from mutual decision. Someone looks at you with all your flaws, scars, untidy stories, and still decides, I want you in my life. And that changes everything. Because love that comes from choice has a different flavor. It's not out of obligation, inherited ties, or convention. It comes from recognition, from kinship, from genuine affection. Being chosen by someone means feeling that you matter, that your absence is felt, that your laughter has value, that your story, despite its pain, is worth hearing. And often, this recognition doesn't come from biological family. Maybe you've spent years trying to fit in, seeking approval, longing to be seen, without success. But when you find someone who truly chooses you, it's as if the world is saying, you are enough, exactly as you are. In later life, this feeling intensifies. Because this is often a time when roles reverse. Those who once gave care now need it. Those who were once the center of the family may feel forgotten, sidelined, as if they've lost their usefulness. But then, someone appears, a friend, maybe younger, a neighbor, someone from church, a walking group who sees in you more than just an elderly person. They see a whole human being. And they choose to stay close. This choice restores dignity. It rebuilds self-worth. It's as if they're saying, you still have so much to give. Your wisdom inspires me. Your companionship strengthens me. And that has a power no blood inheritance can buy. The truth is, in a heart family, you don't have to play a role. You don't have to prove anything, please anyone, or hide your weaknesses. You can just be you. With your quirks, your way of making coffee, your stories told a dozen times. And still you're loved, remembered, sought out. Because you matter for who you are, not for what you do, what you have, or the name you carry. This kind of bond heals old wounds. It shows that life isn't just about what's behind you. That there's still time to create new memories, to share new joys, to be an essential part of someone's life. And the most beautiful part? It proves that real love is generous. It doesn't look at age, past, or appearance. It sees the soul. And when two souls recognize each other, something magical happens. A bond forms, invisible, yet unbreakable. Maybe you've already lived this, even without realizing it. Maybe you've become that person who chooses, who calls just to check in, who brings a meal when a neighbor is grieving, who listens without hurry, who hugs without conditions. And maybe, without meaning to, you've become family to someone who never had one. If that's the case, know this. You're doing something extraordinary. You're offering what's most human and most needed, meaningful presence. And if you haven't experienced this yet, don't lose hope. Sometimes life takes time to cross the right paths. But when it does, everything changes. And even if much of the journey is behind you, there's always room to welcome. And be welcomed. Because deep down, we all want the same thing, to belong. To be seen, remembered, loved not for what we represent, but for who we are. And when someone chooses you, with no obligation, simply because they feel you're worth it, that's when you understand. Family isn't just who you're born with. It's who chooses to stay. That choice is one of life's most precious gifts. And perhaps the most healing of all. The invisible caregivers, those who are always there. Some people don't make a fuss, don't seek recognition, don't appear in the spotlight of our lives, yet they're always there. Quiet, attentive, steady. They are the invisible caregivers, those who don't share our blood, but care for us as if they did. And often, they might as well. You know that friend who accompanies you to doctor's appointments? The neighbor who notices when you haven't opened your window all day? Or the acquaintance who always offers a ride, a favor, a helping hand, without expecting anything in return? These people may not hold the title of family, but they fulfill that role with rare generosity. They see beyond appearances. They sense when something's off. They worry, they engage, they show up. And they do it all without obligation, simply because they care. Because they feel you deserve kindness. What's most striking is how often we ourselves fail to recognize the value of these presences. We're conditioned to expect care from children, grandchildren, or close relatives, but life is wise. And often, it shows us that true love comes from the least expected places. From people who chose to be there, who make themselves available despite their own lives to manage, who listen patiently, who notice details no one else does. These invisible caregivers might be friends, old colleagues, neighbors, church members, or even professionals who go beyond their roles. What they all share is loving presence, gestures that aren't obligations, but gifts, care that isn't demanded but freely given, a gaze that says, "You matter," and the most beautiful part? These bonds grow stronger with time. The more shared moments, the deeper the trust. The more openness, the stronger the connection. Slowly, the person who once just gave you a ride to the store comes to know your fears, your memories, your unfulfilled dreams, and without realizing it, you begin to trust, to open up, to understand that this care is sincere, genuine. It's family, even without shared blood. Often, it's in these relationships that we find the support we've been missing. Because those who care for you when no one's watching offer the purest form of affection. Not the kind reserved for holidays, expensive gifts, or grand gestures, but the everyday kind woven from small acts. Being there when it's easy and especially when it's not. Listening when you repeat the same story for the 10th time. Keeping you company on a quiet Sunday. Reminding you that you still matter, that you're still seen, still loved. If you recognize someone like this in your life today, thank them. Show it. Say it. Because these invisible caregivers carry burdens they rarely reveal. Sometimes they're tired too. They have their own pains. Yet they keep showing up. And that alone is an act of greatness. And if you are that person, if you're the one who always calls, who always reaches out, who always extends a hand, no, this doesn't go unnoticed. The thanks may not always be spoken aloud. The recognition may not come with fanfare. But what you build with this care runs deep. It's eternal. Proof that real bonds aren't measured by genetics, but by presence, by devotion, by quiet love. In the end, life isn't made only of grand moments. It's built, above all, on these daily acts of care, on presences that don't shine but sustain. And it's in this sustenance that true family resides, the kind built through actions, loyalty, and kindness. So look around. Notice who's been your foundation. And cherish them, because sometimes the angels life sends don't have wings, but they have a phone, a smile, patience, and the gift of caring without expecting anything back. Relearning to trust when the heart opens again. After disappointments, missed connections, and goodbyes, it's natural for the heart to close. We learn to protect ourselves. We build walls, create distance, and often we convince ourselves it's better this way to avoid attachment, to avoid getting hurt again. But humans weren't made to live behind barriers. The heart, no matter how wounded, was made to beat alongside others, to share, to open. And this is where the beauty of heart family shines. It teaches us to relearn trust. Sometimes, this trust returns timidly. It starts with an unassuming conversation, coffee after church, a walk in the park, slowly, without rush or pressure. The heart begins to lower its guard, because it senses safety there. It finds listening, truth. It isn't easy, especially for those carrying stories of betrayal, abandonment, or neglect. Many mature adults have learned, through pain, that trust is risky, that relying on someone can lead to frustration, that opening your heart invites hurt. But maturity also brings something powerful, the ability to recognize what's real, to see sincerity in another's eyes. And when that light appears, when someone approaches with honesty and respect, the soul recognizes it and blooms. Relearning trust doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means giving life another chance. It's telling yourself, despite what happened, I still believe in good, still believe in affection, still believe I can be loved and love again. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful, but always freeing, because when trust returns, life expands. Colors reappear, smiles come easier, hugs regain meaning, and suddenly what seemed lost hope reemerges, disguised in a simple gesture, a sincere look, companionship without demands. In later life, this journey is even more special, because now you possess something you didn't at 20 or 30, emotional wisdom. You've seen the world change, endured deep losses, wept real tears, and all of it has given you something priceless, the sensitivity to recognize what's genuine. So, when someone enters your life with pure intent, you feel it. And you can, yes, allow this new bond to form. Let this new friendship grow. Let this new heart family take root with respect, with ease, with time. And the most beautiful part? When you permit yourself to trust again, something inside you heals. Because trust isn't just about the other person. It's about you, believing you deserve affection, that you're worthy of love, that there's still so much to live in. You don't have to live it alone. So if you feel your heart has closed too tightly, maybe it's time to look at it tenderly. Talk to your wounds. Thank them for their lessons. Then, little by little, leave a crack open. Just enough for the light of someone special to enter. Because it will come. Life always finds a way to send the right people at the right time. And when you least expect it, you'll be laughing with someone who understands you, walking beside someone who listens, crying without fear of judgment, and realizing that yes, it's still worth trusting, because love, whether by blood or by choice, is what gives meaning to everything. And trust is the first step to living that love fully. Friendships that span decades, few things in life withstand time like a true friendship. The kind that begins on a school bench, in a workplace, or during an unexpected trip, and quietly becomes one of the pillars of your existence. These are friendships that span decades, that survive changes, distances, and silences, that adapt to life's seasons, from restless youth to reflective maturity without losing their essence. And when these friendships reach later life, they take on a different strength. They become even more precious. Because now, with the passing years, we realize time is the most valuable thing we have. And knowing someone chose to share that time with you for so many years is something profound. These friends know everything. They know who you were, who you tried to be, who you became. They've seen your victories and your stumbles. They were there when you lost someone dear, when you faced illness, when you thought you couldn't go on. And most importantly, they were there when no one else was. They don't demand. They don't need daily check-ins. They aren't hurt by silence. Because they know the bond between you goes beyond frequency. It's rooted in shared history. Like an invisible bridge that may sway in life's winds but never collapses. Because it was built on truth. There's a quiet beauty in these long friendships. They no longer need proof or grand gestures. A look is enough. A simple "I'm here" suffices. Even when life separates you physically, the connection remains. A call, a message, a sudden memory. And just like that, everything reconnects. In later life, these old friendships often become more important than blood ties because they carry understanding. They don't judge your limitations. They respect your silences. And they move at the same pace. It's the friend who knows what it means to lose parents, Who understands the fear before surgery? Who honors your nostalgia, your faith, your routines? Because they're living the same era, feeling the same world. The most beautiful part? Over the years, these friendships grow softer. There's no more competition, no vanity. Just presence, listening, companionship, an evening stroll, coffee on the porch. A comfortable silence where no one needs to fill the void with words, because the bond speaks for itself. And even when one of these friends is gone, as life sadly sometimes decides, the love doesn't fade. It lingers in the way you speak, in the stories you tell, in the values you shared. True friendship doesn't end. It just changes form and stays in your memory like a quiet light that never goes out. So if you have someone like this in your life, cherish them. Call, visit, tell them how much this friendship strengthens you. Because a decades-long friend is a mirror of your journey, living proof that amid life's many losses, some presences are eternal. And if you feel you're missing such a connection, don't think it's too late. Life surprises. There's always time to build new bridges, to make space for new stories. Because friendship has no expiration date, it just needs truth, shared time, and a heart willing to listen and care. Friendships that span decades are like deep roots. They hold you steady when life's winds blow hard. And they remind you every day that you're not alone. That even after all these years, it's still possible to walk side by side and be family, even without shared blood. Where true love resides in the end, life teaches us, quietly and with time, that what truly matters isn't the possessions we accumulate, the medals on the wall, or the names we carry. What really lasts, what sustains, what warms the soul on cold days are the connections we nurture. The invisible yet unbreakable bonds. The people life placed in your path, not by blood, but by soul-deep harmony. Because family, at its core, is who loves you at your worst. Who remembers your birthday even if you say you don't care. Who notices your absence, feels your pain, celebrates your victories as their own. Who offers comfort before you ask, advice without arrogance, silence without weight. Family is who stays, and the truth is, it's never too late to expand that definition. Never too late to look around and see who's truly with you. Who became family without asking permission. The neighbor who became a confidant. The friend from church who knows when to call. The walking companion who understands your fears and your strengths. These people are life's gifts, and they deserve to be recognized as such. Later life gives us the gift of clarity, of seeing more sharply what's worth holding on to, of letting go of expectations, titles, and social demands, and of embracing, with an open heart, what truly builds a meaningful life, genuine love. Whether by blood or not, maybe today is a good time to pause and ask yourself, who are your heart family? Who stood by you when the world turned hard? Who listened without hurry? Who saw you fall and reached out? Maybe you took too long to notice. Maybe you haven't expressed it enough. But there's still time, there always is. To send a message, to visit, to put gratitude into words for what your heart already feels. Because love, when unspoken, also hurts, also fades, also gets lost. So don't wait, don't postpone. Cherish today those who cherish you every day. And if you feel someone like this is missing in your life, open up. Life always surprises. And sometimes a new friendship, a new connection, can change everything, your days and your heart. Here on this channel, we often talk about what time teaches. And if there's one lesson it repeats, day after day, it's this: blood doesn't define family. Love does. Presence does. Care does. If this video touched you, share it with someone who makes you feel like family, even without shared blood. Maybe they need to hear this today. Maybe they don't even know how much they mean to you. And while you're here, subscribe, Let's walk this path together, without rush, without masks, just with truth. Every video is an invitation to live with more lightness, more affection, more wisdom. Because in the end, that's what life is made of. People who love truly. Bonds. Time can't undo. Families the heart chose. Until next time. And remember, you're never alone, as long as there's love on the path.